I would rate this movie 4 out of 10. Spoilers ahead, here's the story. The film opens with narration and almost everyone singing and dancing to the song Rhythm Nation. Ella, being unique and dancing to the beat of a different drum, sings You Gotta Be. We meet the 3 mice. Ella's stepmother, Vivian, critiques the tea Ella made and sternly warns Ella that her future husband may abandon her for her ineptitude. She also criticizes Ella for not putting effort into her appearance. Thomas comes to visit to check in on the girls and bring them a gift of vegetables. Thomas carries a cane because chicks dig it. The stepmother is excited, seeing Thomas as a potential suitor for one of her girls. Ella is not interested in Thomas, finding him creepy. The stepmother tells Ella she must make herself a match for someone. Ella sings an original song, 1,000,000 to 1. She wants to make and sell dresses. We meet Prince Robert and his friends. Prince Robert tries to dismiss an offer of marriage, claiming to be too busy. His hard work over the past 3 days was drunk fox hunting. He gets into a petty fight with friends who match his maturity. The suitor says their marriage would benefit the kingdom and promises to spend minimal time with him so he can still enjoy his frivolous lifestyle. Prince Robert refuses the offer. In spite of the prince's immaturity, he seems to have several suitors. A song announces the upcoming changing of the guard. The stepmother, stepsisters, and Ella prepare to see this event. A stepsister tells Ella that she has dirt on her face, though it is not visible to the audience. Ella wants to sell a dress she made. The stepmother scoffs at the insane audacity of a woman engaging in matters of business. She discourages Ella from embarrassing the family and engaging in this blasphemous nonsense. She encouraged Ella to smile, because girls are worth more when they smile. King Rowan is displeased that his son, Prince Robert, turned down an offer of marriage. Queen Beatrice dismisses the king's concerns, being more concerned herself over the fact that the king's throne may have gotten taller than it was the day before. Robert seems to not care that he has become known as the king's idiot son. The king does not want to become a laughingstock and wants the prince to take his role seriously. He needs to marry for power, not for love. The king threatens to give the throne to the prince's younger sister, Gwen. Gwen is caught eavesdropping and told to leave, though her father and brother are in the middle of a tense conversation. Gwen asks if it would be a good time to discuss using renewable, environmentally friendly energy source instead of burning fossil fuels. The king dismisses her and orders the prince to find someone to marry at a bride-finding ball they will host. As the prince prepares for the changing of the guard, he sings Somebody to Love, accompanied by a choir. Before he finishes the song, the king interrupts by yelling at Ella to get off the statue of his father. Ella apologizes, but says that it is too difficult to see in the back. She cracks some jokes that the prince finds hilarious.
Might I suggest you put some bleachers back there? Give us short peasants a chance? I hereby decree all short peasants shall be pardoned by the king.
They share a similar sense of humor. Earlier, the king admitted to throwing actors in prison for their disrespectful play of his son. Now, however, the king does not punish Ella for her disrespectful treatment of his father's statue. She receives no punishment and sashays away. The prince is smitten. He fairly easily convinces his father to allow commoners to attend the ball, implying that it would be embarrassing to the king if the younger sister ruled instead of him. This is a realistic point to make in our world, for although there were female rulers, in some cases, the line of succession would pass over the daughters and instead go to their younger brother. That practice has only just changed in England. However, while this is realistic in our world, it does mean that the king's threat earlier to make the younger sister the heir was an empty threat. Especially when Princess Gwen is, as she declares, literally not allowed to have a seat at the table. Robert puts on different clothes to disguise himself. He wants to find the beautiful, witty, and fearless Ella, admiring the way she talked to his father. Meanwhile, the stepmother encourages her 2 daughters to marry a wealthy man. The 3 of them are distracted by the farmhand. Although Thomas was ogling earlier, and that was portrayed as creepy, the woman ogled the farmhand, and it is not portrayed as creepy. The stepmother sings Material Girl, because she is played by Idina Menzel. What kind of musical would cast Idina Menzel and not have her sing at least one song? Ella has incorporated her mother's brooch into a dress she made. She tries to sell the dress to a woman walking unchaperoned and who appears to be wearing rabbit ears. The woman accuses Ella of being a thief. As Ella tries to sell her dress, she is made fun of and scorned. It is implied that selling a dress and having a business is unsuitable for a woman. However, in the song Rhythm Nation at the start of the film, women appear to be working and selling merchandise and are not mocked or chastised. Prince Robert talks to Ella and mentions that women cannot own shops. In our history in the real world, women were historically limited in regard to property rights. However, the laws in this film are unclear. It seems women are not allowed to own shops, yet it also appears as though Ella's stepmother owns the house, meaning it was passed down to a woman instead of a male relative. Ella states that us ladies give birth and run households, so running a business can't be difficult. Robert buys the dress at triple the asking price to do his part to correct a flawed system. A song announces the prince's bride-finding ball. Ella scoffs and shares rumors about the prince, including one that the queen still spanks him. Ella is not interested in attending the ball. She changes her mind after Prince Robert says that open-minded, rich guests will attend, and that he can introduce Ella to potential customers. Ella says the prince will most likely not be interested in her because, among other things, she is dirty, though that does not seem visible to the audience. As the cast sings Am I Wrong?, the queen studies the height of the thrones, and the princess walks in the streets unchaperoned. In certain areas of our history, there were rigid societal rules set in place regarding etiquette and chaperones safekeeping a woman's reputation. But the women in this film do not seem bound by these limitations. Although Ella made a dress for the ball, her stepmother tells Ella that she will not attend. Ella will marry Thomas. When Ella argues, the stepmother throws ink on her dress and treats her harshly. The caterpillar that Ella has been looking after transforms into a butterfly, which then transforms into a fairy godmother after Ella repeats her song Million to One. The godmother begins singing Shining Star, then proceeds to make Ella a business suit to wear. Opting for something more traditional, the godmother uses Ella's design to create a dress from flower petals. The godmother excitedly exclaims, "Yas, future queen, yas!" Ella uncomfortably walks in her glass shoes. The godmother states that magic can do nothing to make the shoes more comfortable or practical. The mice are transformed into footmen. Ella is surprised they are males, as her assumptions had led her to misgendering them before. Though the kingdom is critiqued for being old-fashioned and not open-minded, and although we are given a more radical fairy godmother, Ella is not chastised for assuming gender. They finish singing Shining Star. While the king, queen, and princess await the arrival of Prince Robert, Princess Gwen asks if it's a good time to discuss her plans to reduce poverty in urban row housing. It is not a good time. Prince Robert arrives. The ladies sing What a Man, and Robert and his friends sing Seven Nation Army. The women ogle the prince and touch him and his friends without their permission. Though at least one of his friends seems to enjoy the attention, the prince is clearly uncomfortable. The women are not chastised for their behavior. Ella arrives and almost immediately runs into her stepmother. Fortunately, the stepmother does not recognize Ella due to the godmother's magic. She compliments Ella's shoes. Outside the castle, the mice-turned-footmen discuss their fascination with the process of male urination. A queen who killed the male heir in order to become the ruler asks Ella where she got her dress. Ella fumbles for nearly a minute and then says that she designed the dress. Queen Tatiana, who is a freakin' queen, will meet Ella tomorrow so that she may examine her designs. If impressed, she will hire Ella to travel with her and design her clothes. Ella sees the prince, who is addressing the rumor that his mother still spanks him. Recognizing him, Ella tries to sneak out, unsuccessfully. Prince Robert approaches Ella, and she says he looks different now, and clean, even though he was not visibly dirty when she met him before. Ella wants to leave, but Robert gives a speech about Gwen. Gwen steps forward and reveals that she is wearing the dress Ella made. Robert and Ella dance and sing the song Perfect. When they are alone, Robert says he wants to marry Ella, but she turns him down so that she can pursue her work. She says if she must make a choice, she chooses herself. Robert accepts her rejection, but that does not prevent another short rendition of Perfect. The magic begins to wear off as the clock strikes 12. Robert helps Ella escape. As Ella struggles to run in her heels, she exclaims to the sky, "Dress your feet for comfort," before throwing a shoe at the prince's friend. In a disturbing sight, one footman only partially transforms initially. Fortunately, everything completely transforms back to the way it was. The king is angry at Robert for embarrassing him and disgracing his legacy, since he did not become engaged at the ball. During a tense moment of silence, Gwen asks if it's a good time to discuss their spending on weapon manufacturing. Even Queen Beatrice rolls her eyes.
It really just benefits the catapult makers.
Quick, Gwen!
Though Gwen is said to be smart, she lacks the wisdom and social awareness to know when to discuss such topics. The king orders Robert to marry one of the princesses. The stepmother confides to Ella that she had a talent of playing piano and attended a 1-month training at the finest school of music. This displeased her husband, and it is implied that he left her because of this. The stepmother finds Ella's glass shoe and realizes the truth. She is happy Ella can marry the prince and provide security for the family, but Ella refuses. The stepmother decides that Ella must marry Thomas that very day. The stepmother and all the women sing "Dream Girls," a song about the limitations of women. The queen tells the king that he does not show his love for her anymore. She reminisces about the time he would serenade her in a tone-deaf voice, standing as a knight outside her window. Queen Beatrice says her voice is silenced. She wants to tell the king that he is wrong in front of the entire kingdom. The king becomes an entirely new character after that scene. He tells Robert to do whatever he wants. While the town crier sings, Robert looks for Ella. Ella is on her way to marry Thomas, but she jumps out of the carriage. Ella and Robert find each other as they are singing "Million to One" and "Could Have Been Me." Robert tells Ella he no longer wants to be king, but wants to be with her. He helps her get to her meeting with Queen Tatiana, who has come to the market unchaperoned. King Robert attempts to serenade the queen as he used to. She is not happy with his efforts. He apologizes for his behavior. The queen sings that he acted like a pig-headed numbskull, and the king joins her singing. They are reconciled. Queen Tatiana looks at Ella's sketches and decides that is enough to hire Ella. Robert and Ella will remain unmarried, but will travel the world together. They don't want to put a label on their relationship. After Gwen announces that she is heir to the throne, the king tells the crowd to disperse. The queen loudly proclaims that he is wrong. The crowd cheers, and she steps forward and leads everyone in singing "Let's Get Loud." We wave goodbye to whatever remained of the king's dignity. Ella and her stepmother reconcile, so that Idina Menzel can join the song. Perhaps my critique of this movie are a bit nitpicky, but this story had a message. The message was that women were or are being held back from achieving their full potential and should be given equal rights and opportunities as men. If that's the movie's message, the movie should support that message, but there are several contradictions. The rules of what women were allowed and not allowed to do were confusing. The queen's role was to be silent, yet Ella, a commoner, was allowed to talk disrespectfully to the king without consequence. We are told that the kingdom is old-fashioned, and that a woman's most important goal should be to secure a husband. Yet women were not discouraged from acting in a suggestive manner, invading a man's personal space, or walking around independently without a chaperone, which would go against the old-fashioned notions of womanly etiquette. The characters were unrelatable. I found the good characters to be annoying, and the wrong characters to be too one-dimensional and unrealistic. This movie is technically a fairy tale, but instead of embracing the genre, the movie seemed to try to be better than it, as though fairy tales were beneath it and something to be scoffed at. This may seem a bit harsh for something that could be viewed as a kid's movie, but I have become too spoiled by good kid movies to let this one slide. Anyway, I'm done harping on this movie. I give it 4 out of 10 because the songs were well done. Everyone had a good voice except the king, but that was part of the plot. I will listen to the songs again, but not watch the movie. My next video will probably be about a movie I enjoy. Hopefully. Thank you for listening.